Welcome to Healing Highs with Laura, where we talk about the highlights and serendipitous moments of our healing journeys. I'm your host, Laura, an international energy healer for animals and humans. Thank you for being here. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Healing Highs with Laura. I'm Laura. Thank you so much for being here on this season 3 of our podcast, where I love to talk about the highlights and serendipitous moments of your healing journey. Today, I have amazing guests. I have my cousin, imaginovator and creativity coach, Veronica, and I have my sister, who is a holistic wellness coach, Kim. Thank you both so much for being here. I'm so excited that we get to do this. Veronica, you've been on the podcast before.
Yes.
And if you guys are interested in going back and looking at her episode, it's the last one from season 1, or one of the last ones before the ghost story ones. And I'll tag it in the description below, so you can go back and look at that, where we talked about all things creativity. And Kim, welcome. It's your first time.
Yay, glad to be here. Thank you.
So we are going to talk about our own, both of you, your healing journey and some beautiful things that you've had happen on your healing journeys and how they've helped you. And then we're going to talk about some ancestral things that we share because, like I said, we are related. And we also have an incredible program, Heart Intelligence Living program, which again, I'll put the link in the bio, that we are offering multiple times throughout the year. The next one starts March 20th of 2026. And this program is designed to look at your whole mind, body, spirit, where each of us have a strong background in to help you raise your heart intelligence so that we can create the community that we want in our future. So we'll talk more about that at the end of the program and what that looks like and what we're offering. But I just wanted to give you all kind of a heads up about that. So let's get into it. Let's talk about our healing journeys. The podcast always, I love talking about what is like a highlight, a beautiful moment, a very a time in your healing journey that you felt like completely supported by the universe, or some magical moment happened where you were surprised by something that you'd been working on and you just felt the universe supporting you and saying like, I'm here, I got you, or spirit communicating with you. And so I just want to jump straight into that most important question. Veronica, do you want to tell us about your...
Yeah, just that question makes you look at your whole life, right? And my whole journey really has been about having a voice and my own personal value. I think that a lot of folks can relate to that. And one of the things that I've struggled with in my value is really accepting my psychic abilities and my intuition, which was very, very strong, as it is for a lot of folks when I was very young. And then I learned to turn it off because it made me feel outside. It made me feel different. And as a kid, you want to belong. And I remember one time my mom heard about an energy healer guy at a local church and wanted to go. And so she was bringing me and my brother along because there was no one babysitting at the time. And I remember thinking, I don't want to go because I was already actively trying to hide, and I didn't want to have anything to deal with that. I didn't want to, I suffered from feeling like I was seen as being psychic, and I didn't want to be seen for that. And so made me very nervous. And we went, and it was at a church, and we sat at a pew, and he had it where a lot of folks got in line like you would for, if you're Catholic, you get in line for the Eucharist, go up towards the altar. And they were walking up where he was up there, and you would kneel, and he would put his hand out towards your forehead, but not touch it. And he said he was just sending energy through your body and, should be helpful. And I'm thinking, oh no, something's going to happen. I don't want to go. And being the good girl, of course, I didn't argue. I went up with my mom and I got really nervous. And he's going from person to person to person. And I'm freaking out. And he comes to me and he puts his hand, it's not even touching me, it's probably about here. And I can feel the energy pushing on my face. And it was pushing so hard, I could feel my neck straining because I didn't want anything to happen. And he said, "Let go, you're hurting me." And I, of course, kid doesn't want to hurt anybody. So I relaxed and whoosh, I fell backwards. And I felt the energy flow right through me. And the very thing I was afraid would happen happened. And I got up and I didn't say a word. My family didn't say a word until we were out, kind of like, what the heck was that? And I just said I felt funny. But what it was that it taught me really to learn to accept who I am. And I'll never forget that when I released and let go and it went through me, that it felt really wonderful. So that was something that just kind of like, accept who you are. It is magical and it's okay. So, but that, it was the angst to, again, hide who I think I have always been. So, and ever since I've been coming out.
Wow, that is, I have so many questions in my mind. So what did it feel like when it was going through your body?
It felt like a breeze, like a real strong wind. And that's what pushed me back. But before then it was very hard. It felt very hard. Like there was like literally like a board pushing my face. And that wasn't good. But when I released, it went right through me. And it felt, the immediate moment, I remember feeling like, okay, like it felt good. It felt calm and felt good, even though it was very conflicting. Um, but it felt better to let it go through me than it did not to.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was wondering because, well, also we often hear those feelings feel tingly, and I felt like maybe it didn't feel that way. So I'm glad you described it because it doesn't sound that way.
No,
And
I don't remember the tingle,
yeah,
but I remember it moving through me like a wind. And then immediately you're on the ground and you're freaking out. So no time.
yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's like you said, such a great message. Well, you're so young at the time, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I was maybe 12.
yeah. And so you're probably not really taking the powerful, you're just like processing it, But then,
Yeah.
yeah, message for the rest of your life to surrender and accept yourself and come back to that.
And
Um,
now it's coming back to that. Yeah.
yeah. And then, so I'm curious, um, just being 12, how did you take, what did you take from that?
Well, before turning it off and being and wanting not to have it, it was my source of comfort. It always made me feel I never felt alone. It was always a positive. But it was that I was able, because I had some remote viewing and things, that other kids started saying negative things about me that I just didn't, you want to belong. So there was always, I think, that push and pull of there's nothing, not even a relative that feels that close, right? That really homey. And so I was missing that. So even though I was detaching from it, there's always a part of me, even when I was young, that missed it, because that's when I felt my best, was when I was in the company of that. And, you know, um, it's been a rough road, having it, and then having it in a social context that doesn't, in my life, didn't quite accept it. Um, and now realizing, that was always my gift, and there's nothing like it. There's just nothing like it.
That's the way for you.
Yeah. And now I know I'm back in it again. I don't have the acute psychic experiences, and I wish, and I'm working my way back towards that. But I'm back to it feeling always with me. that I'm in the middle of it, and I'm not afraid of it, and that it's beneficial. And it's actually gone on to give me a lot of good luck, a lot of serendipity in my life, and meeting the right people, magnetizing the right people since.
Yeah. I think the last question that I was wanting to ask is how, because your your family not being too welcoming of it, but then also seeking out this person who came to the church. I mean, also there's a safety in it if you're very religious that it's coming from the church.
Yes. Well, here's the funny thing. In our family, on my mom's side, we have psychic abilities. And so I think my mom, too, knows that she has it. We joke about it, but has turned it off. And so for her, there was this curiosity to reconnect with it. And that's what's interesting.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna say, because like it feels like she must have known on some level you had this and wanted to help in some way. I don't know. It felt like it needed,
Yeah.
but
She did, and she would help. She would actually do come up with exercises and help me do, to strengthen it. She supported it. It was my choice and my wanting to belong with my friends who, can be cruel, that chose to shut it down. And she's always brought it up. I wish you'd reconnect. I wish you would reconnect. Now, she doesn't consider herself psychic really at all, which is ironic because she is.
oh yeah, yeah, I understand that. Yeah. Oh, amazing. Thank you for sharing that story. Kim, tell us like any story that you have or stories that were something that helped you on your healing journey or just helped you as a person. And if you need to give us like any background of like who you were at the time or anything like that you were moving through.
Okay, yeah. There's a few different stories that I can think about, but this I'm going to share this one because I feel like it's like a lifelong gift, actually. So it was. I went to a psychic as an adult, I was an adult. I can't remember, maybe in my 30s, I think, and this a few things came up, of course, that were like huge confirmation that it was true. This psychic was really good. But one of the things that he told me was he said the word Stanislaus was coming up. And he said, I don't know what that means. And I knew what it meant. And it's a city in Northern California. And I was living in Southern California at the time. And I was considering moving to that city. And so I told him and explained to him what that was, what it meant to me. And he said, okay, this is a gift from Spirit. And he said that it's like Spirit saying, we're here. This is proof. And I just feel like it really has been a gift for me because, life gets hard sometimes. And sometimes you like question things like, what's real? Is, Spirit really real? And I feel like it's like a rock bottom communication that, nope, I can never tell myself that Spirit isn't real because I know it is. And then that really has helped me throughout my life.
Giving you so much confirmation and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you said, like it's like a basic, there's no arguing with this is real, this is true. Yeah, they're always there.
Yeah.
Any other stories that you have that felt like yeah, just like guided you in a moment or were very powerful in your healing?
Yeah, I actually was microdosing ayahuasca, and I didn't have too many things happen. And when you microdose, it doesn't have like any kind of hallucinogenic in it. It's
Have the
so
tea or
yeah, it does not have any of that in it. And but one time I was just out in my garden and I had this beautiful volunteer morning glory growing on my fence. And I just would always just go out there and enjoy the beauty of it. And one day I was just doing that, just being present. And all of a sudden I just got this like communication that it was like the plant communicating that it felt like I don't know if I'm welcome because I just popped up and I wasn't planted here. And it felt kind of like I could feel like how it felt. And it was like it felt kind of like, oh, I don't know if I belong, that kind of feeling. And then I just like realized like what I was experiencing. So it was just really interesting. I mean, it was no question like I didn't ask for that. I nothing. So anyway, it was just very interesting and just really cool to connect with a plant spirit.
Yeah, and also because for people who have not experienced ayahuasca, it comes from obviously a plant, and so when you're connected in that deep way to what like we consider like the mother, right? Like then you are so in tune with that energy, and then there, of course, like you're able to hear those communications so easily.
I think so, and it's interesting that morning glory is a vine also.
Right, like ayahuasca is a
Yeah.
vine.
Hmm.
So I love that. It reminds me, just because again, like us being related, it reminds me of Kim and our dad. One time our other sister was having a bridal shower in San Francisco, and he was staying at a hotel in the like it was like good couple miles, like 4 miles away, but it wasn't um it was through the city. It was like on the other side of the city. So like it really was like he was walking across all of San Francisco. And he walked through the park, which is like really along the middle of San Francisco. And while he was walking through, he felt like a tree gasping for air. And so he looked around, and one of the tree's trunks had like a band that had maybe somebody had put on like a smaller branch, but it was outgrowing it and the band was constricting it. And he at the time would carry like a little, Swiss Army knife kind of thing. And he had it and he cut it off, and he said he felt like the tree took this like huge deep breath, like and on he went. He walked all the way to meet us after the bridal shower, and you were there when he came, and he like just tells us this story like for so every day, and he has many stories like that about plants and things. So
Wow.
yeah, so I think it's like there you have it, and then you're having the vibration of microdosing the Aya and connecting, so it makes sense. um Speaking of Aya, because obviously like we're talking all the time, we're creating this program, and I do know you have like that other experience of feeling like maybe she was talking to you about going up to a ceremony. So do you feel comfortable sharing that?
Okay, sure. Well, yeah, that was a profound experience for me because the first time that I ever did ayahuasca, it was very intense. And then I eventually decided to do it again, maybe a couple years later, I can't remember. And I had it planned, but I was hesitant. It was about 2 weeks before, and I was pretty nervous about going into it. And so one morning I was just lying in bed, not high on anything, just kind of waking up. And I just heard a voice in my head that said, "Shall I touch you in the forest?" And I was like, what? What is that? Where's that coming from? I mean, I don't talk to myself like that. And, but anyway, I kind of talked to someone that I felt like might be able to help me with that. And they understood because they had experience with Aya. And they said that it sounds like she's asking, Mama Aya is asking me a question and asking if I'm committed to this next ceremony. And it totally fit because I was really scared. And that person just recommended that I say, just ask her and just have a communication with her and just tell her, hey, take it easy on me because, the last one was intense. And so I did that afterwards. I had a conversation. I just talked. And that was, I made a request. And when I went into that next ceremony, it was great. It was very peaceful and mellow and it was perfect. And for me, that was huge. It was just really like confirmation that this is real. You know, this isn't just hallucinogenic when you take it. This is a real plant spirit. And that had a huge impact on me.
Yeah, there's such a connection with
Mhm.
her in the medicine, and having sometimes visualization, sometimes not, but just overall just feeling like such a deep emotional like connection to yourself, and her guiding you through that journey. Yeah. And then so I know like you um have the tattoo because of that, right? Like you don't have to show us, maybe we can insert a picture here. uh,
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's got the hummingbird. I love hummingbirds, and hummingbirds are a big like a spirit animal with regards to ayahuasca. And so it's got a hummingbird, and then it's a caduceus underneath it. But for me, I designed the tattoo to represent medicine. And for me, ayahuasca is just such an amazing medicine, and it's had a profound effect on me. And that's why I chose it, because I feel like that is true medicine. It heals us on all levels, helps us to actually literally cleanse at the time, physically, but then also emotionally and psychologically. It helps us in so many ways to heal.
Absolutely. And while we're saying this, I have a hummingbird, like, making a nest, or made a nest. And then now it's I looked it up, like how quickly after they make the nest do they put eggs in the nest. I said like 1 to 3 days, but I'm pretty sure it was like 1 day, because um once the nest I could tell was like complete, she started sleeping in it at night, and then she has like her wings like covering it.
Oh,
Like they say it's so amazing how birds make their nests, right? Like the architecture of it is so incredible. But
yeah.
literally chose things that match her wing um shapes, colors, because she has like brown with a little bit of gray, and the nest has brown with some gray like patches. And so when she's like that, it looks like just like a ball of a rock. But
Wow.
if she has an egg in there, she's already like covering it. So and in the first season, again, I'll put this in the bio. I did an episode about hummingbirds, and an experience I had about hummingbirds in a ayahuasca ceremony as well. So I'll put that there too, because it was like had its own serendipity in it too.
So much is connected.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. um well, thank you both for those stories. I do want to ask, in your life, just in general, or your healing journeys, because both of you have such a sense of your purpose and how you want to help your community and the planet, how you feel, creator, source, the universe has, like, the moments that you shared today, even like how those have helped you towards your purpose. Like, how do you feel, Veronica, that event that happened when you were 12, or any other serendipitous moments that you've had, have helped you in today, who you are as this creativity expert, and reminding people to play and use their imagination? Like, how do you feel that has supported that?
Oh, such a great question. It kept alive my inner knowing. So all of these little serendipitous moments were like moments of, you knew it was like a quiet secret that you knew it knew, you saw it saw you, that never let you go. It wasn't as if you're living your whole life with total silence and not having it, right? I mean, its presence is in your life the whole way in these little moments. And so even though you don't want them, or you're struggling at the moment with who you are and the context, that changes. But its presence and its communication in these moments in my life, throughout my life, have been constant and still continue today. And now I'm absolutely grateful. And now I lean into it and say, please give me a sign, give me my next steps. What should I do next? Where are you? Let's talk. So the relationship is strengthened, and I'm and I think it was always proven to me that it was always there, and I'm grateful for that.
Oh my gosh, that's so perfect. Yeah. And I like, we were nodding our heads because I think all of us are so deep in it that
Mhm.
we are all doing that as well. Like something's happening, or like, okay, where do I go? Tell me what to do. Like we know we have our, humans that can support us and help us, but we also know we have like this team of spirit guides and angels and ancestors and creativity, the energy of creativity like, guiding us. And we're saying, tell us where to go next, or how do I make that happen, or whatever it is. So yeah, I'm glad you said that because it's so important for us to know they're there and talk to them and give them permission to help us because yeah, we're not doing this alone.
Nope.
That's great. Kim, anything from your experiences that you shared or didn't share that have brought you to today that you help people with wellness? Like whole like you've always like I won't like give our ages away, but we're like pretty far apart in age. Like you were a teenager when I was born. And so like my whole life, I know you've been so involved in nutrition, so involved in movement and energy. And so, how do you feel like these moments that you shared with us have helped you get to where you are today, where you are helping people with their overall physical wellness?
Well, I guess I just feel like kind of like what Veronica said. I just feel like so grateful that spirit is a part of my life and that it's been such a huge part of my life because I kind of, of course my life went into a certain direction but it's like little by little I realized how important spirit is to me and how much a part of my life it is. And it was like it kind of took advantage, or I didn't realize how important it was. And then it took me years to appreciate it and to really see what was going on and to see how much of it is a part of my life. And now I just feel so grateful because I know that, yeah, like I feel like my guides and my angels have helped me so much in my life. And I do notice a lot of serendipity and synchronicity with regards to the angels that happens almost on a daily basis. And so
Yeah,
that is like, you cannot even deny it. I couldn't even tell you all those different experiences. But
yeah,
yeah,
you
I
always,
hope I answered your question.
yeah, you did, and
Okay.
you're also like we text a lot, like where we're like, oh, this happened, and then like just 2 weeks ago this happened, and then you were like, oh, love when the angels get in there and like make something work out. And yeah, like because it does happen so much. And it's just like so magical. And this makes me think of like current times. We all know what's going on in the world right now. And I was seeing, and I think I shared it on an Instagram post where it was like maintain like keep your whimsy, like keep your whimsy, because like that is a resistance, like a way to resist, right? They want us to conform and just all be the same and look the same. And keep your whimsy. And I just think like us talking about how angels, like on the regular, just saying like, oh, this happened, oh, the angels stepped in, like I just feel like that is another example of whimsy that maybe it's so everyday for us because we really believe in it and use it in our lives. But I also think it's like a form of whimsy to be like, fairies were here and this happened, oh, the angel said this, to be in that world. And like us maintaining that as a norm for us is like a way for us to resist.
Yep.
It requires a lighter energy, and it is whimsical and magical, and it's not heavy energy. So light, light, light. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. um Another thing, Kim, I was gonna say, and it's not really a question, but just kind of supporting what you were saying. Again, being a small child, you were already a teenager and growing up and watching you in your life and seeing the different things that you went through, almost like you came here like a spirit to experience like, well, I'm going to experience all the ways the body can like be. like you tried things, maybe they weren't always good for you. And, like, and then like, we're like, hey, I've experienced this. Now I'm going to take all my knowledge and how to like be well and be the most like, in like, listen to my body and be in tune with my body um, and help others do that. I don't know, like that just as you were talking, I was thinking like, oh wow, you've had so many life experiences about like how you would take care of yourself and like you just learned so much and now you're using all of that to help other people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess there's so many different things I could say about that. I feel grateful for my body so much. I mean, I feel grateful to be healthy and, maybe it's genetics and it can also be my lifestyle, which I do believe it is. But you're right that there's a lot of different factors that go into that. But yeah, I was thinking about that yesterday and thinking about how this is the journey that I'm on, is like that healing journey. And I think that you do get to a point where you want to give back and you want to help others. And I think that was one of the main reasons that I decided to become a coach, because I started realizing that I have so many tools in my toolkit because I had to work on myself and I had to heal. And I had a lot going on from the time that I was probably like a teenager is when it was really hard for me. And I had, I suffered from addiction, mental illness, physical ailments. I had a lot of digestive issues. I mean, I had to go through a lot. And, but yeah, now it's great because I do want to give back and share. And I think that will help me to kind of complete the whole cycle to give
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like all the things that you've done and all the spaces you've learned in, like all the different ways that I think
Mm-hmm.
all of us, like we've tried so many different things, right? Like retreats and programs and books, and we've honed in on like what helps us and what, like you said, Kim, like what we can give back from like now our perspective. Um, so the other thing I really wanted to share with our listeners is because we're related, and we've been like putting this program together, we have like periodically, oh, remember when this person did that or this, our grandma did this, shared these really cool spiritual, as Kim was putting it earlier, mystical stories. And I thought like that would be so great for us to each share a story that we have about or share something about our ancestors because we are so like strongly connected to them. And everyone is, but we always are like talking about them as we're putting this program together. Um, and so, yeah, I thought it would be so fun for us to each share like just one story that, we feel is like something cool about our ancestors. I don't know, Kim, do you want to start with the tarot cards and just share about?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay, sure. Yeah, I have, these are tarot cards. Sorry, I don't know if
it,
you
like,
could see it. Okay, there it is. Sorry. Well, these are tarot cards that were my grandmother's, my paternal grandmother, Grandma Loopy. This is the case. It's so old that
That's
it's
so
kind of
cool.
falling apart. So I just keep them in this little bag. But the cards are in good condition. And yeah, our grandmother was living with us when I was living with my dad. My stepmom, Laura, was there, my sister Carrie. We were all living together because my grandmother, she was getting old, Grandma Loopy. And I just found her cards in her bedroom one time, and I never even talked to her about them. I probably should have, but I was about 16 years old at this time. And trust me when I say, like, I was not a mature 16-year-old. So, that's really all I can remember. Like, I just started looking at them. Anyway, I wish I could remember more about it, but I never talked to her about it. I think she was actually starting to get dementia at that time. So I think, I don't know. And anyway,
yeah, like you said, you're young and you're just like, these are cool.
oblivious.
Now it's so incredible. Like when I found out you had those, I was like, I'm sorry, excuse me, what? Because if knowing whatever age you were at that time, like I would not have even had the like understanding of what this is or anything. So I didn't even know about it. And then, yeah, you told me about it a couple years ago and I never knew. And I was like, please bring them to me. I need to see these. And yeah, they are like the outside's falling apart. But what's interesting about the cards themselves, it's a popular deck. It's like a deck that is like the original tarot, like that
Right.
yellow
Right.
case. Like when you
Mm-hmm.
go to like, I mean, nowadays there's so many different kinds, but if you go to like the basic tarot, like it's that yellow box. And so what's so interesting about it is when you look at the cards, they're like, I don't know how to put it, but they're like a little more negative versus nowadays. I feel like they took it, whatever the wordings are, and they've kind of put a little more of a positive spin on it, which is good. I'm glad. But it's interesting because it'll say like, I don't know what the tarot cards are, but like, if it's the sun or something, the bottom might say something like a little dark as like a prediction or something. And nowadays it would say like maybe something limiting and something positive, that you could take it either way, which of course is true. But it's so interesting to me how it's the same like kind of old original-ish tarot decks, but they've like, it's changed over time. Did you take one out?
I'm just holding one up. This was on the top, the Queen of Pentacles.
And then what does it say at the bottom, the word under Queen of Pentacles?
Riches.
Oh, proves me wrong. It's all Laura, get out of here.
What? Because you were saying it's kind of dark.
Yeah, because most of them, when I looked at it, they're like dark word, like I can't think of anything. Like it was just like a lot of, I don't even want to say negative, but like it just felt like not both and not positive. It was a lot of this like heavier energy of prediction, but then it's like riches. So it's like, just be quiet, Laura. You don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I'm like overwhelmed by tarot. Like I tried to learn a little bit, but it's intense.
Yeah,
And that
it
has
is great.
no help. Like that deck has no help for you. Most decks are like, this could,
Ah.
to support you in reading these cards. That deck is like, here's a word.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am so happy you have those. It makes me like, once I knew about them, I was like, oh, that's such an honor, because our grandmother was one of many kids and had 9 children, and our dad was the youngest. And I just feel like things could be dispersed in so many different ways. And so I'm just like so glad that you have them and that they're somewhere in close reach.
Yes.
Like,
And that she was attracted to them too at 16, an important year. But yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. Cool. Thank you for sharing that. Veronica, your story I have already heard and it's amazing. So please tell us.
It's a story that I hadn't thought of until shortly before then you asked for the story. So then it's really interesting. But my grandfather was a sculptor, wood sculptor, and he was commissioned by the Los Angeles Catholic Diocese to create a sculpture as a gift to the Catholic Pope. The cardinal here was going to go to the Vatican and present it. So they contracted my grandfather, who was elated because his favorite topic is religious art. So he thought right away, he drafted something and it was going to be an iconic image of Mother Mary. And he said it must be in the best, most superb wood. And he said the best wood I can think of is black walnut. It's got a very tight grain, and when you carve it, has a beautiful shine to it. That's the perfect wood. We're going to do it. Okay, let's go. So he went off to his usual lumber yards to find the wood, and nobody had that wood. It was just too exotic and too hard to get. And so by the time he went to the last lumber yard, he, of course, didn't find the wood. And the guy, helped him choose another very nice comparable wood from a wood pile. And so he said, okay, it's better than nothing. We'll compromise with that. And he looked down. He says, yeah, such a shame I can't get the black walnut in this particular size. That wood block down there is the perfect size. And it was in the mud, and it was there to keep the other wood out of the mud. And so the guy says, that's junk wood. If you can get it out, it's yours. You can have it for free. He rang up my grandfather with the other piece of wood. My grandfather went back to his studio with the 2 pieces of wood. And so he scraped the smaller block just to see what type of grain it was, what type of wood it was, so he would have it in his inventory. And lo and behold, it was the walnut. So amazing. And it was the perfect size that he wanted. So he ended up using that muddy block that he was given for free and carved the gift, and today now sits in the Pope's private collection in the Vatican, and it does come out periodically on rotation. But it was just such a magnificent story that something so humble, all of a sudden finds its way. And so I asked myself, after Laura asked, to think of something that was kind of magical like that. And I thought, well, why did this come up in my life right now? And I looked at that and I thought, one, that your work, who you are, what you're meant to do will find its way, that there isn't any work to be done. Now, the funny thing about this story is that the piece that's in the Vatican now got there with no money exchanged. So my grandfather didn't, it was a free piece of wood. The cardinal gifted it to the Pope, who then passed away. And interestingly, the Catholic Church never paid my grandfather for the work. And my grandfather, being the humble artist that he is, grateful for the opportunity, never pursued payment. So it found its way with no money exchange, which some would say, there's a magical quality and a purity to that. But I really looked at that and I thought, that's kind of one of the messages, I think, why this came up for me that I want to let go of going forward is this belief that you are a poor artist, right? That there's something in the value exchange. The Vatican had more than enough resources to pay my grandfather tenfold for something like that. So if he had asked, he would have gotten paid. And so then it makes me look at myself and my journey for my self-worth and my value, and the times that I've struggled asking for that fair value exchange. And really kind of seeing how it isn't a thing unless we make it a thing. And so, yeah, just a lot of lessons learned in that magical, wild, crazy story that, I'm applying to myself even now as a creativity expert, right?
Self, right? Like, yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful story. And
Yeah.
I said this like because I've been to the Vatican a number of times, and I wish I would have known so I could somehow been like, is there any way like you get to see this? But I know you said even like your dad, his son, like had to get like special.
Yeah, with the request, I think you can, but you have to get it timed, and yeah, it's a whole big thing.
Even to go like in the ruins underneath, you have to write a letter like in advance, and there's like allowed, and so I've done that. So I'm like, oh, it could have been it's such a beautiful story, and I love
Wild.
it made like such a difference for you right now, even remembering it.
Yeah. And the whole journey of an artist, and how magical really the skill itself is, and the gift of being a creator is, but also that it warrants, value. It warrants. Yes, it belongs in the Vatican. Our work belongs. It's magical work, but there's fair value exchange, and you can be okay leaning in and asking for what's fair in terms of payment for it too.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important for a lot of people who
Yeah.
are artists, like that means something really valuable. The story that I was going to share is, so like Kim and I share the same grandmother that you were just talking about. We were just talking about this earlier, like how are we related? We know, but like it sometimes gets tricky. Like that grandmother and your grandfather were brother and sister. And so then Kim and I have an uncle, and when he was very small. I think we were trying to look at how old my dad was, like maybe he was 10. My dad was like very small, and then our uncle was maybe 10. He had been playing with a balloon. Like my dad was describing it like you take the balloon, like you're gonna blow it up, but you stretch it and you like make the sound or something with it. And a piece of the balloon, like he had swallowed it, and it was making him very sick. They thought he was gonna die. And my dad said that he remembered, or our dad said that he remembered the whole neighborhood coming with chairs and sitting at his, like they put him on the kitchen table. I mean, they were very poor, probably only had like one room in the house. And so they put him on the kitchen table, and the whole like um, neighborhood, dad was just saying like, I don't know where all these chairs came from. I just remember thinking like, where did all these chairs come from? How did we get all these chairs? But probably they all brought their chairs and were sitting like with him, and like he was dying, and there was like nothing that really anyone could do. And dad said like it just would be like they would be outside and come back, and this was always happening, and probably for days. And then the um our grandmother had the like neighborhood curandera healer come, and um he says he remembers her like putting like an oil on him, and different herbs, and then like surrounding him in candles and flowers, and doing, essentially healing and energy work on him. And dad just said like he remembers like going to bed, and the next day waking up and his brother was fine. And they literally were like, he's dying, he's gonna die. And then he was fine. And my dad, or dad doesn't really remember like, and he was so small at the time, like, did some major thing happen? Did he pass the balloon? Did he, throw it up? Like, we don't know. But what's also interesting about that story, again, like to say like our grandmother, had Gunadera, and you had her come and um, use her skills. Um, but also that when that uncle himself was crossing over, we went to his house to be with his family and be with him. And we were kind of going in the room one at a time. And I did not know this story at the time. And I went in with him, and we were close to him. He did a lot of things for us and was such a amazing person in general, did so much for his community. And I went in and I was sitting with him, and he was talking, and he was seeing like people like in the room and things like that. But it wasn't making sense, quote unquote, because like you have to be in that kind of realm for it to make sense. And all of a sudden he said to me, "Oh, there's a box." And I said, "Oh, what's in the box?" And he said, "It's a balloon." And I was like, "Oh, it's a balloon. What do you mean?" It's like, okay, maybe it's your birthday. Like I was just trying to make it light and whatever it was. But then I walked out of the room and I told his daughters and my mom and our dad. And I'm not sure who said it, but somebody said, "Oh, the balloon," like when he almost died as a child. And now here he is dying. And so it was like such a strange, like then they told me the story, and it was such a interesting connection that his being was remembering that as a symbol
Mm.
of being in that in between space, and like again being in that in between space, and remembering that and connecting that. um so yeah, it was just incredible, and he was so great too. It reminds me of when he was sick, he had Kim come over, and you wanted to do some energy healing for him, um and he was not even like knowing anything about that, and was like, "Yeah, sure, of course." And so I went too, and I have a picture of Kim using a pendulum over him. And I remember when we were just like talking beforehand, and then he said something to you like, "All right, let's get this voodoo stuff started."
That's right.
It
I
was so
forgot about that.
it was so funny. Um, but it was like perfect because we didn't feel like slighted in any way. Like it was very much like him just being his joking self and also being like, yeah, let's go do your thing. Like, come. And I don't know how long you were working on him for, it was a while. And he did the whole thing and he was just so great about it and open to it. So yeah. So those are our familial, and I know we have so many more stories about our ancestors, and we talk to them all the time and ask them for their help. And so that kind of brings me to the program, like our Heart Intelligence Living program. We, know I actually want to go back a bit. Like, I don't know, whenever Eat, Pray, Love came out, remember that movie came out? And like,
Yep.
we all like had been connecting like family events and things, but then somehow we brought up that we all wanted to see it. And then we went like, and we all lived in like different places and we met at a theater. And I remember one of my friends came too.
Yep.
And they wanted to see it. And we even, I think, took a picture where we're each like representing like the Eat, Pray, Love or something, because it was so unique for us to like, yeah, get together and do something, because we had to like really find a meeting place. And it was
Yeah.
so yeah, like, so I just feel like that was like so long ago whenever that did come out.
A long time ago.
And like for us to then already be like connecting in this spiritual way about that movie. And so now to have it translate to what we're doing
Yes.
in
I think that there's something very important about us being together at this time.
yeah. And so like now we have this program and each of us has kind of taken our specialty and applied it, and we put it together and we met and designed this to create what we would hope the future holds, is more heart intelligence living. So I don't know, Veronica, do you want to kind of like share what the program is for everybody?
Yeah, I'm so excited about working with you, but also what we've put together. It blows my mind. It exceeds all of my expectations, but we've always known that we each had our own perspective and angle and skill sets, but there was an attraction always among us. We're always hooking up at parties, and your graciousness was always there. And I don't know, it just, we pulled together at this time. We started talking about what we loved, our specific angles, what we love. Laura really focusing in her work with the spirit and healing the spirit, and then Kim really with her life journey, discovering her body and the strength of her body and the energy, and coming kind of home and really nourishing that vessel of hers. And then my journey going through creativity and coming home to my own artistry as a creator. And we realized that it's all the same journey, right? Everybody's life journey has that process with its own skill set and value, but that together we had something very powerful to offer with a lifetime of tips and our skill sets and our inner knowing, that actually kind of addressed the body, the mind, and the spirit, and how all of that was really showing us our examples of our own life, our heart-led lifestyle, and how important today, more than ever, living a heart-led life is so important. Realizing we're dealing with a lot of anxiety, right? And what is beyond it? How do we have a life without it? Well, it requires a lot more heart. The world needs more heart. We all know that. So we started collecting our tips and what we know, and put together an amazing 8-week experiential program that is sharing all of that work, that includes meditations and immersions and recipes and qigong, all of it to address that triangle of heart, creativity, and spirituality that we find is a really amazing, comprehensive experience in showing what a heart-led lifestyle is, what heart intelligence is, and the tips to open up the heart, quiet the mind, and lead from the heart. So it's a very, very exciting program that starts March 20th. And I don't know, am I leaving something out?
Oh, it's great. I love everything you're saying. I think the only thing, of course, we'll put the link below if you're interested in joining us. And if you missed this round, we're going to offer it again in a few months. Our hope is to offer it multiple times throughout the year. And yeah, like Veronica said, because this has been a question lately, you just do it at your own pace. You receive the modules each week and you do what is, like what you have time for. And the whole process is just leading you into a deep heart awareness to enhance your heart intelligence. And we had done an Instagram live yesterday and you had said it'll meet you where you're at. And it's so true, because if you already do a lot of work in this space, this will just take you deeper. And if this is new for you, it will create a safe space for you to explore this. And then once we're kind of like halfway through, then we talk about, now what does it look like to go back into the world as this being? And we give you tools to help with that, because you're meeting your family in a different space, you're meeting your world in a different space. And sometimes that can present its own challenges. So we've created so many supportive ways with each of our modalities, whether it's nutritional interventions or somatic techniques or meditation or breath work or your creative immersions, to help you do that. And how important that space of being heart led is to your creativity, but also how important creativity is to the world and your world. um yeah, we're so excited about how beneficial the program is for us, and like we just want you all to be able to experience it as well. Kim, did you want to add anything about like the techniques that you're offering?
Yeah, there's so many different things that I'm offering, but I feel like in general, you guys kind of mentioned a lot of them, but I feel like in general, the reason that they're so powerful is because they're self-healing. They help us to raise our vibration, manage our nervous system, and reduce stress. And those are just so important right now with most people's lifestyle. So it's huge.
It's so big right now, this, which is great. This is like a big thing right now to talk about um nervous system regulation. Like that's the, I hate to say latest trend, but that is like the thing that everyone's talking about right now, which is good, because it's something that has been overlooked and is so important. And especially right now, because the beings at charge want us dysregulated so they can just do whatever they want. And so us being regulated, and you mentioned yesterday, Kim, like the heart mind coherence, the more we are in that coherence and the more regulated we are, then we can be our most authentic selves and move into the world to do what we came here to do and create the future that we want for ourselves and for the world. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add about the program?
I just wanted to push the creativity angle because that's my angle, in that, we're basically, healing the limiting thoughts and your child, and then preparing the body for that increase in energy and maintaining and holding and sustaining that increased energy that comes with opening the heart. And then what's different, and how I really enjoy my participation, is that when your heart is open and you're living a heart-led lifestyle, a more comes out in terms of your imagination and ideas, imagery, metaphor, serendipity, and synchronicity, and how to interpret that. And what that is when you live through your heart, you become more creative. And because of my life journey, I get to coach you and say, this is what your creative expression is. It's uniquely yours, and trust it. And yes, the mind will kick in and try to censor and judge. Let the heart speak, because I've had that experience. I know what it's like to have that tension happen. And so it's my opportunity to basically say, yes, what you're experiencing is an increase in creativity. And here's how to embrace it. Here's how to manage it. And here's how to use it, and not to censor it. And and that's what I'm just so excited about, because it's kind of like you guys really help prepare the body for transformation, and understanding the language of the heart, and then I get to kind of play with you guys about the language of the heart.
And creativity, it's so, for me, the way I always view creativity is we, and whether you want to call it source, universe, creator, that is to me like the energy of oneness. Like we're all connected to it and versions of it. And when we are aligned with that, it flows through us. And that is creative energy. Whether you're using it for art or music, that type of thing, that's kind of what we always view creativity as. And everything is creative. Who we are is creative, how we dress is creative, how we problem solve is creative, what did we make for dinner is creative. um, you can work in any field and use your creativity. And something you're always talking about, Veronica, is your imagination and play, remembering who you are authentically as that child. And so I think that, again, going back to whimsy and following your joy, something I like to talk about on the podcast, like using that as your compass to what you're going to do next. I think all of that is what gets expressed through aligning with creativity or source, and everything that we're doing in the program is helping that.
That is a future human.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Totally. Um, and Kim, did you want to add anything about the program, or you feel like we?
I guess I would just say real quickly about there's like a couple of movement activities in there, but then there's also Qigong. And the reason that I included Qigong and it's because it's so profound. It's basically like energy work in with movement, and it's just like Asian movement arts that have been around for thousands of years. And people have been doing this in like China, and they live to be a really old age, because it offers so much. And so I just wanted to say, like, it's just really powerful and really good for our health, and moving energy, bringing good energy in, helping us to be more flexible. And anyway, so I just wanted to kind of explain that, because not everybody might not know what Qigong
Oh
is.
no, and also it's the movements are very easy. The ones, they're not like, it's not a workout. It's very like doable, and they're very like, you can feel how powerful they are just in the simplicity of it. Yeah. Good. I'm glad you added that. I am going to point out that Kim has a bird and you can hear it, because don't apologize. It's totally fine. I love it. I just want,
I do too.
the reason I am pointing it out is because if somebody is listening, and not like seeing, I mean, you can't see it even if you're watching, but I don't know. Sometimes when I listen to something, if I hear something, I'm like, wait, is that near me? Or the thing I'm listening to. So I just wanted to point out, you're not crazy. There is a bird. So it's totally fine. It's not even a thing. But I was like, just thinking, like, if you're listening to this and you're like, keep hearing a bird, where is this bird? It's coming from the podcast.
It's Mango.
Mango, our mascot. We have all the animals and all my cats, which they did make a what do you call it? Like, they showed themselves at the beginning when
Appearance, yeah.
it was just us, and then she jumped over my head and we moved. Well, so I wanted to, I'm grabbing my phone because I want to look at something I'm going to read. Wrap up our time together with what I did in season 2, as I called it quick fire. Now I'm going to like upgrade it, calling it a cosmic lightning round, where I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions, just whatever comes to the top of your head. And we'll just get to know you a little bit better through some kind of fun, silly questions. So Veronica, you can go first. What animal guide do you feel in your life right now?
Surprise me, dolphin?
Okay.
That's not an animal, but
You know, but it is for this purpose. Yeah. How about you, Kim?
It would be the hummingbird.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Them too. So good. Okay. What song would you want to share with us? Like, is there a song that you're listening to? Is there a song that you love, love, love that you would want to share with us?
Want me to go? Oh, okay. It's you too. And right now it's American Obituary because it's so important right now from Days of Ashes, their new album. But there's a line in there that gave me chills, and it's "I love you more than hate loves war," and it's just like it's just so poignant and so powerful and so important right now.
Love it. I've now decided I'm going to make a playlist for everyone that answers these questions. So we'll keep adding to it. So I'm writing it down. That's perfect for, yes, what we're going through. Kim, do you have a song that you want us to listen to?
Yeah, I would say Love Alive by Heart.
Okay. So the next question, love it, because music is life for me. No, the reason I asked this question is because a lot of times you get like in a place with your music where you're like, I'm listening to the same stuff. I want to listen to something new. What do I want to listen to? And I always want to ask people, what should I listen to? Same way people say, like, what book should I read?
Yeah.
Like I kind of want to do that with music, but then I don't know, people get a little bit like, because sometimes maybe you're listening to something you feel like, oh, it's not the cool thing or whatever. So sometimes people get nervous about the question. So I thought, I'm asking it in the podcast. Is there a book that you recommend that you're reading now or you read in your life that you feel like, whether it's something fun or knowledgeable, educational, anything, like what would you recommend?
An amazing book for everyone's library is by Daniel Pink. And I have it here. It's A Whole New Mind, and it's how the future will be led by right-brained people. And it's really about, I think, how we're evolving into that, using our creativity and our heart more. It's amazing.
You told us about that, I'm remembering. Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah.
For me, it would just be my favorite book is Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak.
Yeah, you gave me that book like, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe more than that. I love that book. I gave away like every book on my bookshelf except for like 6 books, and I kept that one. Ugh, love that book. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, what is your favorite place that you like when you've gone there or you go there, you feel like the magic of it?
For me, it's a place that I can no longer get access to, but it's in my imagination, and it's the backyard of my childhood home where we had a pond. It was just like knee deep. It wasn't very, but it was magical with fish and all that. And then overlooking the pond was a redwood tree. So I think the power between the two did something, and I can just go there and I drop into a completely different zone. It's amazing.
So cool. The tree. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you can.
It's so hard to pinpoint it because I just love nature so much. But I'm going to pick Canyon de Shelly in Arizona.
Okay, cool. Amazing. Yeah. See, in the last season, I asked like favorite place you visited or something like that. And I love this idea because then people have gone so many cool places that like we might never hear of and not know that are so valuable. So yes, this is great. What is a favorite ritual that you have for a hard day?
Oh, oh. It's my tuning fork. Oh my gosh. I do that at night. I don't know. And it just feels like the cells and everything are just blah, 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 lining right back up. And I've tried gummies and serotonin, melatonin, and all this stuff. But when I do my tuning fork, it knocks me out, and the quality of sleep is amazing. I don't know. Yeah.
I remember you mentioned that a while back that you got those and you were doing that and it was helping you so much. That's so great.
I know. It's magical.
That's so cool. Awesome. Kim, how about you?
I guess I would have to take a shower, go to bed early, and listen to 432 hertz music.
That's pretty nice.
And similar frequency, just helping you. Yeah. Having rituals in general, like I've heard different people talk about this, that when we were smaller communities and tribes, there was rituals happening all the time, and so we don't have that in that way as much. I mean, some at all. So when we can create these rituals for ourselves, it does like regulate us and help us to feel safe. And
Mm.
I feel like this is the reason why I want to ask this question, is then for people who are moving through something challenging, they can find some things maybe they can create in their lives that could be simple or complex, but both of those are so doable that, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's so helpful. Two more questions. What's your favorite ice cream?
Oh, that's like the hardest question of all. But I've got to go with the classic mint chocolate chip, man. It's yummy and refreshing.
That used to be like the main thing I would get when Thrifty had their
Oh,
yeah, mint chip. Yep, that's good. How about you?
I love mint chocolate chip, but I guess now I'm vegan, so I would probably get like Oatly vanilla and like put chocolate chips in it and like almonds chopped up.
I think Oatly has them. I think Oatly has
Do
them.
they have one?
Yeah, I think
Okay, I gotta find it.
it's a vanilla mint. So it's
Oh, oh my
exactly what you're talking
gosh.
about, but it has a peppermint flavor. I think. I'm pretty sure
I'm
we
gonna look for it.
yeah, eat that way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'll look for it again if I go there. When I go to the store. Okay, last thing, something that you're proud of. Could be something recent, something
that I'm proud of.
uh,
I still am blown away that my creativity television series on Imagination won a Telly Award.
that's like the coolest thing ever. Yeah, I know.
Crazy.
I like you bring that up or I talk about it or anything. I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
I know. It's amazing. It's back there somewhere, but yeah.
Yeah, usually I could. Oh yeah, I could see it. Um, yeah. Kim, how about you? Something you're proud of, whether it was recent.
Hmm. I don't know. I hope this isn't too general, but I really would have to say the current state of my life because looking back at my life, honestly, I could have died. I was so foolish. I did so many dumb things. I put myself in danger. I am very successful considering all that I've been through and where I came from. I almost didn't graduate from high school. I almost didn't get into college. I just had so many struggles, and I've come a long way.
Pretty big.
Yeah.
That's why earlier I was saying that, like, oh wow, I'm like seeing what you're doing now, and also from a different depth. Even though I knew all those things, but I don't know, I was like suddenly seeing it. Uh, because we're talking about it. So no, I think that's something so important to be proud of. You've created, like they talk about it's the simple things, and some people want big things, and that's great. We all can want that, of course, but it's like the simple everyday things, like getting to spend time with your dog and being healthy and eating the foods that you want to eat, spending time with your family, like having that and being good and okay is such a success. So I think that's a big thing to be proud of. Amazing.
Yep.
Thank you so much for taking
It's fun.
to be on our podcast here. We appreciate you.
Yay.
We do have one last thing that we do, ritual, if you want, where we ask the void a question. I don't know, Veronica, do you have a question like at all? I didn't like prep anybody for this, but I don't know. I feel like you might have a funny question.
Does the void ever feel empty?
Yes.
Okay, so we will amazing. um we're going to end here. I appreciate the void, and I appreciate both of you so much for, again, taking this time, sharing your stories, being so vulnerable. And if you're interested in our program, please check out the link. You can follow us on our different websites and things I'll put below. And yeah, thank you, Kim. Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you.
It's an honor, as always, to be in your presence. Thank you.
You would feel the same. Okay, so listener, thank you so much for being here, and I wish you so much joy and serendipity on your healing journey. And I know our paths will cross again.